This is the 16th at Shinnecock Hills on Long Island, and that was a very beautiful course. I love that look of that course. It's almost like a links course in England or Scotland. It's got a character to it that's just wonderful, and that wonderful Stanford White clubhouse just takes your eye there wherever you are on that course. So. But the sweep of the 16th was there was instant love in that scene. And there's a little quail in the bunker there. So.
You see the flags outstretched, a lot of wind in the grass.
And also there's, on the right there, I don't know if you can see, it's a windmill.
Oh, yes.
And that sort of gives you, again, a sense of where you are, because if you know the history of out there and that windmill, then. And I had to kind of move that over to get it in there.
What other messages do you have in the, so the windmill speaks to the heritage of the land and the people.
Yeah.
Are there any other messages in this one?
No, I manipulated a few things in there to get what I wanted. But we won't talk about that. Okay. We moved the building over a little because I wanted that building to stand by itself, because that's the way you usually see it on the course, even though that particular angle, the other building kind of encroached on it. So I just moved it over, brought in the windmill, and, then I was happy.
Beautiful.
And that's another beautiful one. I love the sky in that one. Just love it.
16th at Oakland Hills.
16th at Oakland Hills. Unfortunately, all those beautiful willows are gone now, I see, which I thought just made that hole. Very, very famous hole there. And that sky actually came from the Low Country. But and it has gulls out on the course there.
I saw Sergio put one in the water on this hole, and Padraig Harrington went on to win.
I think Steve Jones won that year.
Oh, I'm earlier, yes. I'm a decade earlier.
Yeah.
A decade later.
Yeah, that is congressional. At that time, the 17th of the blue course, and they've changed it since then. Now it's the 18th, but and right across from it was the 18th, but now that's completely switched around. That's a T now, and of course they've renovated that clubhouse.
Why the skies look a little threatening to me? Why the?
I don't know, maybe it just fit the composition. It's just, they are threatening out there sometimes, quite a bit, actually. It just fit the light. I don't remember if that was a sky that was there or not at the time.
When you painted this painting, where do you start on a painting?
I started in the sky. I started in the furthest point out and worked my way to the foreground.
So the furthest in the distance, and then you come.
Yep. You should go to my website and look at what's on the easel part, and it shows you a painting from start to finish.
Oh, I'll link to that. That's awesome. I love the elevation changes in that picture.
Yeah, well, speaking of elevation changes, that one, it has a lot of elevation change, and that is the 18th at Olympic. That was for the 98, I guess?
Yes.
U.S. Open. And things haven't changed there that much. I went back when I did the new one, and the trees changed a little bit, but it's pretty much the same. Slightly, they'd had some storm damage, and some of the trees aren't quite as full as they are in this picture. But they're such grand trees. They're just fun to paint, because they're so great.
How much do you research trees and how they grow and the different varieties?
A lot. You can pick out, almost each species of every tree I put in there. I don't just put in a tree. It's pretty much there. In fact, somebody tried to trip. Well, I don't want to go into that. That's a long
Yeah.
story. Forget it. It was Augusta thing. It was so funny. But anyway.
Do you never a golfer in this
The
series?
first few paintings I did, in fact, they're edited out. There was in not Hazeltine. In Medina, there were 2 golfers, but I digitally took them out. After 1990, I did a few that had golfers in them because at the time I hadn't fully tuned in to what I was doing, and then I realized I was more into the metaphysical side, and they didn't belong, so they went out. Never.
So if
did
I'm a
appear
golfer,
again.
I want to be ready to play this hole. And if somebody's in the fairway, that means I gotta wait.
Well, the thing is, when you put a person in it, it becomes a story. If there's no person, you put yourself in there. It becomes more of a feeling. Once you put a person in there, it's like a narrative. So
Interesting.
out they went. Now, I will put a person in and have, if it's important for a reason, like in Valley Bunyan, I have a person about that high on a beach. But it's just to give you the scale of that the hugeness of that beach. And same way when I did the 9th at Pebble Beach, I put little tiny people on the beach because it was just, you just needed that to see the scale.
Pinehurst.
This is the 5th at Pinehurst, number 2. And the first one I did at Pinehurst. And I remember how challenged I was when I first went there because it's all green and it's all pine trees. There's no water, there's no specific signature hole, nothing. So I finally came up with this one because of the lighting, basically. And it shows off those Donald Ross greens that are just unbelievable. Now, I recently, I was recently there for the last painting I did, and the course looks so much better now. And I actually redid this hole. I just updated it with how it looks now.
Wow. Okay, so out of the second 5, and we have Shinnecock, Oakland, Congressional Olympic Club, and Pinehurst. What's your favorite?
Probably
We're
Shinnecock.
having a little contest here.
Yeah, I just love Shinnecock.